Welcome to Freed by Friday. This is Keri Barnum for New Shelves Books, and we are here to talk about the business of being an author, marketing, publishing, anything in between. So we are going to be answering questions live as well as some emailed questions. We did miss a week last week while I was in Poland, but I am back and excited to jump back in. It's always such it's fun. It's fun when you have a community. So I'm glad that you've joined me back here. And let's see what kind of questions we can get into today. Let's see. Richard is saying he's having trouble with Google Play and getting his ebook up on Google Play. So Google Play is one of those platforms that is growing in popularity actually for some ebooks and audiobooks. I have never met an author who is the biggest platform for sales, but it's one of those that doesn't always get distribution. And let me tell you why. If you're doing ebook distribution, typically you're doing KDP for your ebook onto Amazon. If you're doing your book in Kindle Unlimited through the Kindle Select program, it means your ebook is exclusive to Amazon. But if it's non-exclusive, then typically you will go ahead and put your ebook up on other platforms for sale. We're talking iBooks, Kobo, um, those kind of ebook platforms, Barnes and Noble. And you can do those individually. You can get an account at Apple, you can do an account at Barnes and Noble, and you can upload those books individually. However, it is much more popular to use an aggregator because it's just easier, to be honest. So most people will use an aggregator like Ingram Spark, Draft to Digital, to go ahead and upload their ebooks for distribution on multiple platforms. I personally recommend Draft to Digital. It's one of the easiest to use, and I like their platform. So I use Draft to Digital. The thing is that those platforms do not cover Google Play. So if you're not then creating a Google Play account to upload your book as a publisher on Google Play, then your book's not available from Google Play. Most people don't really notice this until they do something like submit for a featured BookBub deal, and then it'll say it's not available from that platform. Which is valid. Book's not available there. If you want to do that, it's not too very hard, but it is like a new ebook upload. So you have to set up your Google account. You have to fill out all the banking and tax identification information that you would for your publisher accounts, and then you upload the book to Google Play. As far as I know, as far as I've ever seen, there is no drawback to doing this. There's no drawback to putting your book on Google Play if your book is wide and not exclusive to Amazon through Kindle Unlimited. But it is another platform to kind of keep track of, and you do have to set it up. So again, not hard, but you do have to set that up. And Richard, I'm seeing you're having some trouble. So shoot me an email with your questions, and hopefully we can get that figured out for you. As I said, the biggest hardship I would say is just setting up the account and doing all of the publisher information and tax accounts and all of that. So, oh, that's fantastic, Richard. All right. So shoot me an email and I will look for that. Yes. So the aggregate that I personally use is just Draft to Digital. It's DRAFT, the number two, digital.com. And I will gladly shoot you a link there. I'm not an affiliate or anything like that. I just think that their platform's easy to use and I like it, so I recommend it. So there we go. I put that in the chat for anyone who's live. Let's see. Question. I have an excellent review in Book Life, and they sent me a bunch of copies of the publisher's weekly issue it is in. I'm not sure how to make the best use of those copies. So if you have a review in Book Life and they sent you a print copy of the book, that's kind of just fun to have, but honestly, you won't use it nearly as much as digital versions. Digital versions can, they can be quoted in social media, quoted on book sheets or in library or bookstore pitches. You can use excerpts in those kinds of things, and you can use them on your website as well. You can certainly use a screenshot or a picture of the magazine to go on social media to share the review, and that's fun to do. But as far as the actual print copy of the magazine, it's fun to have, but it's hard to share. So I would say for those copies, you can frame it if you want, keep a copy for yourself. You can certainly bring a copy if you are going to, I don't know, a festival or something and you wanted to like have it open and show the magazine. But mostly I would say they're for personal use and keeping that way or taking pictures of it for social media. Let me see. Can you talk about the top of funnel and bottom of funnel keywords or phrases? I'm not sure how to check the bottom of funnel phrases or words to see if they're the ones I should use. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, by top of funnel, bottom of funnel keywords or phrases. So if you could expand on that, I am happy to try. But I'm not sure if you're talking about metadata, if you're talking about like keywords for ads, if you're starting like a sales funnel. Not quite sure. So if you expand, I will sure try to answer that question for you. Either the chat or the Q&A pane is just fine. See, I need to find an editor, but I'm unsure of what I should expect to pay for a 20,000 word business book. What is your suggestion? So there are a lot of places to look for editors. I personally recommend that you either go from word of mouth, someone that can say, hey, I've used this person and I recommend them, or going through somewhere like the EFA. EFA is the gosh, what does that stand for? Editorial Freelance Association. And the website is the-efa.org. And they have editors that they've kind of, have gone through the process to get onto their list. You can also go through verified provider lists through like IBPA or Alliance of Independent Authors. Those are helpful to do. New Shops is on both of those lists. It's just a way that a business or company can kind of verify that they are a good citizen in the community. And also, if there are any issues, those, while the platforms, IBPA, EFA, they will say they're not responsible if anything goes sideways, but they can sometimes be a nice intermediary if there are any issues. So you may look into that. And then oops, I just put the wrong comment in there. I was trying to pull the EFA website for you, so let me actually copy that. So when I paste it over, it works. There we go, the-efa.org. And as far as how much you should expect to pay, it really depends on the editor, how much experience they have, what you're looking for them to do. There are multiple types of editing. There is copy editing, which is like flow, big idea. Are there holes in this book? There is copy editing, which is more about your grammar. There's line editing, where it's a literally line by line. How is the grammar? Does this comma belong here? And then there's proofreading, which is typically that final step of proofreading to make sure, everything's consistent once the book is laid out. Are there any like font changes randomly, which happens? Different things like that. So there are different types of editing, and they require different amounts of time and work. So you really need to know, are you looking for a copy edit, which can kind of help you with content and flow? Or are you looking for that grammatical pass, which would be a copy edit or a line edit, depending on where you are and how clean the manuscript is already? And then you kind of have to look and see their experience in different things like that. The EFA does have kind of like a standard pricing list that is kind of expected to pay in the community. So you can look that up. Um, I think it's under editorial rates. Yes. If you go to the tab and it's just the-efa.org/rates, it will talk about a rate estimator. So you can put in, how much you might expect to pay per word. So for example, if I'm looking for editing and it's a copy editing, and it'll actually ask you like what kind of editing you want, how experienced that person might be. So I can say it's, copy editing for business and marketing, and my word count is 20,000. Actually put this in. I could share the screen with you guys, right? I could. Let me do that so I can show you, because it's actually really nice that this is it's got some nice features on here. Developmental edit is more content and flow. It depends on what you mean by deeper edit. Developmental edit is developing your content, but it's not as grammatical. These are not the people who are necessarily looking for the individual grammar and punctuation and things like that. They'll catch some of that, but that's not their main focus. So some people would consider, a copy edit to be a deeper edit because it's deeper in grammar. Developmental edit is more development of content. So in that way, it goes deeper into the work itself. So deeper edit, I think, is subjective depending on how you mean it. So that's why I didn't use that specific wording in that context. Okay, so this is the efa.org/rates. And of course, this is just, their disclaimer saying, hey, it's some of the information, it gets updated, blah, blah, blah. But it's got this really nice stuff. So it's got project information. We're looking for editing, translation, whatever it is. We're looking for editing. And then it's got all of these options for copy edit, developmental, line editing, proofreading. So it's got the information there. I'm going to go with the copy edit and go with business and marketing because it seems like it fits. And then for our word count, you said 20,000. And then you can choose more experience, less experience. Does this person need professional training, additional professional training? So I'm going to say more experience, but no additional training required. And then the median is 0.04 cents per word. So the estimated project total would be 664 on the low end and 800 on the median end, about 956 on the high end. So this is kind of nice that it does this. Now, some editors do work by the hour, meaning that they're just saying, your work might be super clean and I'll be done quickly, or it may be something that needs a lot of work. And so it's going to take many more hours. So some people will go by the project, some by the hour. If they are going by the hour, then I would expect them to give me, I would expect them to kind of give me a estimated number of hours they expected my project to take. So if they're saying, it's hourly, I charge $80 per hour and I expect it to take 10 hours. That way, if it takes 30 hours and I'm not updated or there's not like good reasoning behind that, probably not the right fit. And that's something, unfortunately, you don't know until you're into it. But that also gives you an idea of how many hours you should expect to pay. There should also be an idea of, you'll tell me, a couple chapters in, if you're finding it's taking more hours, that kind of thing, there should be communication there. But this is really handy to have. I think it gives us a good idea of costs involved. And then we have just the general editorial rates. And this is kind of just, coaching, which is like book coaching, query-led coaching, project management per the hour. So it really just depends. And this is a median. I've seen things higher, I've seen things lower, I've seen things lower with really great work, I've seen things lower with really cool. So things that go into it, but keep in mind that most of the people here are freelancing. They're paying their own taxes. They're paying for their healthcare and everything involved. So when you're paying per hour, it really is covering all costs. So we tend to see higher per hour rates, just like we have here at New Shelves when we have a project. Let's say a library mailing, it's a lower cost, but if it's one-on-one consulting, it's a higher rate. Because also that 1 hour, just like when we were talking about with audiobook narration, that 1 hour actually takes multiple hours. So we're billing an hour, but it's more than that. So different things go into that. But that's a great resource for you if you're kind of looking for that. Let's see. Alina, I love this, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. All right, let me see the questions that we had in email, because I know, Linda, you had some there. So let me see. Not that one, not that one. I opened a lot of emails in anticipation. Um, Absolutely. Linda, the personal email, I'll get back to you on other Linda, because there were two Lindas. Um, let's see. Question. I have an excellent review of Book Life. Oh, no, these are the questions that you asked. So yeah, if you just clarify that funnel keyword question, then I will happily answer that. Let me see. And then a question from Jane. Question here is Jane's new book launches October 21st, 2025. And although the publisher is doing a lot, she wants to start posting about it. Facebook, Instagram, blog on my website, maybe. When should I start? Soon, right? Please don't say yesterday. So first, I have to say it is very popular in marketing or in this industry in particular that when we talk about things and people ask a question, when should I start marketing my book? When should I do this or that? And it's a popular kind of flippant answer to say yesterday. I hate this answer, and let me tell you why. I don't like saying yesterday because it's essentially saying, hey, you're already behind, you've already failed. Catch up, do it quick. I don't like this. I think that the best time to start is today, because it's doable. We can't fix yesterday, we can start today. So I do think that there are things that you can do very early on, and the time to start is now. But do not, no matter where you're at, whether your book is coming out in 2 weeks and it's set to publish and things are in motion, or you've got 6 months to plan. We can always learn, we can always do better, but we can't change yesterday. So if you are thinking about how to market your book, whether your book's about to come out, has already come out, today's a good day to start. So, with that said, knowing that your book is coming out in about 6 months in October, there's a lot of things your publisher is probably doing. Your publisher is already probably submitting to editorial reviews like Kirkus and Publishers Weekly. If you're self publishing, you would want to be doing this yourself. Many editorial review programs do require a 4 to 6 month advance window to submit. So that's the things we do early. You also want to start thinking about your pitch angles. So, what kind of things can your book connect into? This is much easier for nonfiction than fiction, just kind of the way that the game is played. But what kind of things leading up between now and your book launch, and even several months after your book launch, might you be able to connect to? You have a nonfiction book, you can, see, are there any anniversary dates? Are there any holidays or things that you can connect to? If you have a children's book, you might tie into a holiday. You might tie into kids' reading programs over the summer. With a fiction book, it's a little bit different, but trying to find if there's any connections you can make in media to your book. Is there a topic in your book that's showing up in the media, or is there, something popular that's happening that you can tie to? Is it good for a summer reading list? Is it good for fall book clubs? Is it, maybe you have historical fiction and you can tie into a historical date. I've done that with some authors. So start thinking about how we can make your book newsworthy. We've talked about this before. Simply having a book is not news, but how can you make your book newsworthy? So start thinking about those things. And then start going for your long lead items, things that take a long time to plan. For example, are you hoping to do a book launch? If so, are you doing it in person? Are you hoping to be hosted by a local bookstore or a library? Are you hoping to have a local book club do something the month that it launches? If so, now's the time to start reaching out to them so that they can schedule in advance. You get on, they may say, oh, this is great, but we don't schedule for that until about 3 months out. Great, now you know to put it on your calendar and you've already made a contact. So those are the things you want to think of early on. As far as posting to social media, as far as your blog and things, we have to do this carefully because it is easy to fatigue our reader for a book that's coming out a long way away. 6 months is a long time, and we are give it to me now people. We are Amazon overnight people. And so it can be difficult when we are thinking about how we can market our book in advance, because yes, you do want to share on social media and let people know your book is coming out. but also you don't want to do it so much that by the time the book gets here, people are glazed over, not paying attention, have been, heard about this book ad nauseum. So, things we can do in advance. Once your book is up on pre-order, you can certainly do a cover reveal. This may be, through a trailer video, you may do it online, but if you're going to do a cover reveal, this is one of the most high traffic points that your book will ever see is when you show people the cover. When you do that, please, for the love of all that is holy, have a pre-order sales link or have a reason for people to go sign up for a list to get notifications. Something, have some kind of lead generation from that cover reveal for sure. So I would recommend that if you are going to do a pre-order incentive, pre-order the book and enter to win a book club Zoom with me, or pre-order the book and get the accompanying workbook PDF if it's nonfiction. Whatever it may be, thinking of pre-order incentives is a good reason to post early. The other reasons to post early is when you get nice reviews or endorsements or blurbs. Other people are saying nice things about your book, and it's good to sprinkle those throughout. I know I've been talking about my book for so long, but I'm really excited that this author that I really admire just said this nice thing. So you have a reason to kind of sprinkle those in. You can also talk about the journey of publishing. Maybe you're editing right now, and maybe you are, rather than, just talking about the book, you're talking about how you just got editorial comments back and you've got a lot of work to do, and this is the tough stuff, but you're excited to jump in. Or maybe you got editorial comments and you got really nice, nice comments from your editor, and it's making you even more excited about the project. So the journey of publishing is something we can talk about too. And let's not forget about talking about the book without talking about the book. This is one of my favorites. This is where maybe there's a topic in the book or a historical moment, or maybe your book is set in Los Angeles. And so you're taking a trip to Los Angeles. So you're talking about your trip, you're posting like tourist photos, but then you're saying, it was so fun to see this historical landmine mark because it's in my book, and so I've written about it, and seeing it in person is really fun. You are talking about your book while not talking about your book, and people are honestly more likely to react, respond, and interact with those things. So those are some fun things to do. My kind of rule of thumb, as we are so far out, is you talk about the book when you have a reason to talk about the book this far out. You want to do it probably at least once every week, once every 2 weeks. As we get closer to the launch date, we start talking about our book every week. Again, we have to have something to say, not just buy my book, it's coming out. We need updates. We need, quotes or information or, excuse me, maybe it's reviews, maybe it is early reviews, a Goodreads giveaway. It could be many different. Sorry, I went from pollen in Virginia to pollen in Poland and then back to pollen in Virginia. My body is so confused by all these allergens. Um, So have a reason. And then as we get closer to the book, we start posting more because we have more reason to, honestly. So this far out, once in a while is fine. As we're more like, 3 months out, we pick it up a little bit more. And then as we're like the month of publication, you're posting pretty regularly. But again, do not forget to talk about the book without talking about the book and to mix in some other things, or else people ignore you. We have this nice little snooze button on social media. I use it all the time because I'm like, all right, I heard you the first time. So make sure it's not the only thing you're talking about. But now is a great time to start, whether you've got 6 months, 2 days, don't care. But start giving people a reason to celebrate with you and make it a group journey. So excited, went up on pre-order and it's a number one Amazon new release. I can't believe that you guys made this happen. You're making it something that we celebrate. It's not my book, it's our book. And people are more likely to join that effort with you. And when you're celebrating something instead of asking for something, like a sale, then you're more likely to get responses. When you say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't believe you guys got this book to number one new release." People are excited. They're going to click on the button. When you say, "My new book is out, go buy it," not as much. Like there's something about the psychology of it that we're like, "Yeah, okay, pass." But when you tell us something's already successful, when you're celebrating and you're inviting other people to celebrate with you, they're more likely to do so. So remember that to bring people on the journey, give them ownership of the book with you, and then really, highlight and invite those things. And there are many book marketing things you can do along the way. I do kind of have a book marketing checklist that you can always download. And that one's available at, I think it's newshelves.com/marketing checklist. And that is a free downloadable author platform and checklist because if you're a first time author, you also have these opportunities to set up, author pages and bios that you probably haven't done before. If you have already set up all of these author pages and bios, remember it's time to update them. They should include your newest book. Your bio should be updated. Your headshot should be updated. I should recognize you if I see you. If your picture I just had someone where I said, "I love this photo of you. I know it was taken about 15, 20 years ago, and it still looks like you, but it looks like your high school graduation picture, and it's time to update it." People should recognize you as you, please. So those are the kinds of things you might want to update as, and yes, that's part of your marketing is, updating these things as we go. You might also look into what's happening around your lunchtime. Are there book festivals that you could be a part of? Are there author panels or things that you could connect to as a new author? Lots of opportunities. And I tend to prioritize based on how much time they take to schedule or how far in advance that they get scheduled. And then we kind of move closer. Social media is quick, it's pretty easy. So that tends to go lower on my list of, must do in advance. Still important. We just have more time. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely. I see your question, Stella, and I will answer that. Um, oh, here we go. Top of funnel is phrases that people use in browser searches that have a lot of other hits, and bottom of funnel are phrases that are used that don't get a lot of other hits coming up. Yeah, so we're just kind of talking about phrases. So this can be on Amazon, it can be on Google, different things. And I think it's important to know how, if you're using this kind of terms, I think it's important to realize that if you're talking about, for example, you said top of funnel is phrases that people use in browser searches that have a lot of other hits. So that typically means they're more popular phrases. So whether this is in your book metadata or it's in your Amazon ad keywords, just know that if it's getting a lot of hits or if it's getting a lot of searches, it's probably more popular but more competitive. And then we have things that don't get as many hits coming in, but they may be more specific to your book. And I think there's a lot of ways to kind of use those as far as in your marketing. And I like to do a mix of both. I like to kind of mix those really popular phrases and those not as popular or competitive phrases that are really, really specific to your book because I think that gets you the best searchability within your readership. Keep in mind, and we have talked about this, popular keywords don't mean they're the right keywords for your book. I have had authors say, but this keyword ranks really well. It gets a lot of searches and people are making a lot of money with this keyword, but it's not a good fit for their book. So then it doesn't do them any good. They're getting traffic for their book, but it's the wrong buyer. And if it's the wrong buyer, they're not going to read the book. They're not going to buy the book. So it's kind of wasted. And on top of that, most algorithms, if you are shown up in a search and you're not getting clicks or action, it actually trains the algorithms that your book is not a good fit for that keyword or your website's not a good fit for that keyword. So then the algorithm is kind of trained to ignore you, and we don't want that either. So you definitely want to kind of consider what kind of keywords you're using and make sure that you go both popular but niche or specific to your book. These can be used in your Google SEO. They can be used in, for example, Facebook ads. You can even have really specific targets like a comp author and then more broad targets like women's fiction. You can have Amazon metadata, which is the back end of your metadata. You only get 7 keyword phrases there, or you can have Amazon ads, which, excuse me. For Amazon ads, you can have up to 1,000 keywords. So many different ways to use that. Excuse me. All right. So hopefully that helps answer you there, Linda. All right. Just got an Amazon email touting a new book. How do you get Amazon to do this? Where does Amazon get a mailing list? This is fun. So with that, Amazon, by the way, if you have an Amazon Author Central page, which hopefully you do, if not, you have a book published on pre-order, go get one. It's free. It's a nice SEO. It's a free spot on the second largest search engine in the world, which is Amazon. Outside of Google, which I'm lumping with YouTube, because Google owns YouTube. Um, so go grab that. But if you have that, there's a little button on Amazon that says follow an author. And when you follow an author, you actually are signing up to get updates about their book. So if you follow an author on Amazon, you're signing up for the mailing list essentially in Amazon because you have to have an email to log in. That means that you've kind of signed up for that there. So that is one of the ways that you get emails is when you have a new book, your book goes up on pre-order. Anyone who follows you as an author will actually be signed up for that automatically. Um, and that is one way to do it. And then there is also emails that Amazon will send just based on your actual reading history. They will, based on your sales history, they will make recommendations for you. Typically, when your book is available to be marketed in Amazon marketing, it has to have at least 50 reviews. So a book needs to have at least 50 reviews typically to be in that Amazon marketing. Now, keep in mind, this is not something that you do or you pay for. It is something Amazon is doing because they are profiling the buyer. And as they are profiling the buyer, they want to make more sales so they can make more money. And so they are sending things to the buyer that they are hoping the buyer will want to buy. And so that is based on your past sales and your past what am I trying to say? Your sales, the things that you've bought and all of that good stuff. I wanted to show you where people can follow an author. So if it's on a Kindle or the Kindle app, it also gives you the option of following the author. And I don't have that up on a screen to show you, but I will show you on Amazon.com how you can follow an author. Let me share my screen. So this is kind of something now there is certain Amazon marketing that you can pay for. It's typically only and now Amazon ads, of course, but there's different marketing that can be paid for. It's typically very, very expensive. So expensive that the average publisher or author, like it would not make sense. But they do have really high level programs that are thousands and thousands of dollars that bigger publishers may sometimes take in. All right, so we're on Richard's book, which is on discount right now. And we're just going to go to his author profile, which is set up. And we can see here that if we go to the About section, um, I logged in just so it would give me the access to this. All right, so it's got all of the options here with Richard. It's filled out. It's got his picture, his bio. I can verify Richard still looks like this. So yeah, you pass the photo inspection. And then there's an option right down here at the bottom that says follow. If I click on this, then my email address that I logged into Amazon with is going to be added to the mailing list that Amazon keeps for Richard's books. This is not anything that Richard can access. He cannot download. He cannot see my email address, but he can see the number of followers through Author Central. So then that's available there. And then all of these, the recommendations and things, these are actually all set up through Author Central. So if you have an Author Central account, through the books and marketing tab, you can put in other books that are similar to yours that make people think, oh, well, I love The Clan of the Cave Bear. I should probably read Richard's book, which is a very great comp. And so there are a lot of ways that you can use Author Central to kind of promote yourself, and then the follow button, you can see how many people are following your author page. I always recommend that when you have a new book come out, if you have, I mean, obviously social media, but if you have a newsletter list, I always tell people to like include it in the newsletter list. I am just finishing up my next book. If you want to be the first to know when it's available for pre-order, make sure you go follow my Amazon author page. And then we send them a link to this and say, this is how you find it and click the follow button. The follow button also does sometimes show up on top, depending on your browser. And I know I sound crazy, but it was on the top, like right before I shared my screen. So it might depend on the browser, how you're logged in, different things like that. But it's a nice feature to have. Um, yeah. Thank you. All right, let's see. Terry, a question about changing your photo. 15 years ago, I had dark hair. Now I'm severely gray. Is that going to be a deterrent for people to take me seriously? I don't think so. Gray is now in. We now have 20 and 30-year-olds dyeing their hair gray. And a lot of people, women and men, embracing the gray. So, no, I don't think that's a deterrent for people. I think it's just you. And so if you are gray and you're embracing that, then, let people see you. I don't think that'll be a problem at all. Um, and if it is, I want their money for you anyway. Um, I know that's your choice, not mine, but seriously, I hope. Well, I know there are shallow people out there, but that just seems such a silly thing. So no, I think that it's a way for us to connect to our reader. It's a way for people to see us. One of the reasons why I love Free Advice Friday is that people see me, they see my face, they get my immediate reactions. You guys have a pretty good idea of who I am and what my personality is. And so, number one, that makes it easier when people decide to work with me. They know kind of what they're getting. Well, some people don't like me. Such a shock, I know. Some people don't like me. My communication style, my bluntness is not for them, and they get to know that here, and that's okay. Maybe they join in on certain things, maybe they don't, but it gives them an idea of my personality. Being able to see me means that when people go to a conference, they recognize me. They come up and say hi. Sometimes because I don't see all of your beautiful faces on a Friday, I've had people come up to me and, oh my gosh, hi. And I'm like, so sorry, I don't know you. And then they tell me their name, and I'm like, okay, I know who you are now. But giving your face is part of giving your personality, it's part of connection. And connecting with people is a really important part, not only of sales, but also just of community. And ultimately, that's what we're building is a community with our readers, with people who love our genre, with people that hopefully will support you again and again throughout, all of your career as an author. And so, yeah, having your picture out there is certainly something that helps readers connect with you. That's why I say with any picture, unless you are writing under a pen name for a reason or something like that, we want to see your eyes, your actual eyes. You may look very cool in your sunglasses, but we don't connect with sunglasses typically, unless you know your persona as an author is to be like cool and aloof. Um, I have never been able to nail cool and aloof, so I just don't try. But there's different things that you do, but I do think that being able to see your face, typically, actually your face, you may have some really artsy, cool photo of you, but it doesn't really tie into your genre, your personality as an author. We want to see you. And so I think that something with your face works. Um, and if you're not going to show your eyes for whatever reason, shows your personality some other way. That picture of Richard, you could see he definitely looked like he was traveling and he had his hat on. And for anyone who knows Richard, knows that Richard is always, he's traveling. He has traveled so many places in his career. He often travels and loves to explore. And I mean, that is Richard. That gives so much personality. I went over to Amazon just to look at Richard's photo again before I said that. And the follow button is up at the top. Again, I am not crazy. I'm going to share my screen and we'll see if it stays. Okay. I just verification. I'm not crazy. I may be a little sleep deprived, but I'm not crazy. Here, under Richard's name, we can see the follow button here. It usually shows up all the time. I don't know why it didn't before, but there's the follow button here, and then it also shows up down here on Author Central. So it shows up two places. I usually direct people to the top one because they see it first, it's less work. I don't know why it didn't show up before. I'm glad that I'm glad that it did show up though. Just kind of confirm I'm out there, but not totally lost it yet. All right. Oh, pish posh. I've seen your travel pictures recently, Richard. All right, let's see. All right, a couple of questions before we go that I see coming up. Can I recap what New Shelves does and how we can help authors self-publishing first time, debut authors, traditionally publishing authors? Yes, I would love to. So here at New Shelves, we do a couple of things. We have book marketing programs. Specifically, we work helping authors sell their books into the library market and the bookstore and retail market. And so we have library mailings. I do have one coming up in June, by the way. Library mailings, they go out to our list of 7,000 librarians across the US. So it's a good way to advertise your book to a lot of libraries if that is a market that you want to reach or you think your book would be a good fit for. And so I'll put the link there. And that's one of our most popular programs. It's a pretty low price point at $199 to get advertised out to so many libraries. So that one's popular. Retail market is not a good fit for every book. It depends on your book terms. Is it set up for wholesale, discounts, and all of those things? But if you reach out to me, I'm happy to give you resources to know if it's a good fit for you and then what options we have if that's a good fit. Um, we also work with authors, no matter how they're published, on their online platforms. No, we do not build websites. I have to specify, but we do help you look at your website to make sure it's working hard for you and it's got the right layout to really convert your readers. We help with social media presence as far as what's your strategy? How can you build your social media presence? And we work with ads as well. So we work with authors on either training them how to run their own ads or running ads for them for social media, specifically Facebook and Instagram, as well as Amazon ads. Those are the highest converting for books, as far as I know and as far as I've seen. So those are the ones we really focus on, as well as, again, social media strategies. Sometimes authors are like, I will do the work. I don't know what to post or how to engage. We also work with authors on building their newsletters and their newsletter strategy. And as far as the publishing piece, if you are publishing your book, self-publishing, we work in consulting with you. So we help you come up with a plan of how you're going to publish a book, the timeline, the checklist of things that needs to be done. We work with you on consulting on your format and your cover to make sure that it fits professionally published book standards as well as your genre. So we have a wide range of kind of these programs that we do for marketing, like our library program and our ads programs. And then some are training, some are do it for you. It is more expensive to have a do it because that means it's taking whereas if we're consulting and helping train you how to run things, you've got that idea of I can give you a fish or teach you how to fish. And for some people, they're like, hey, I have the money. I just want to buy the fish. And for some people, they don't. They want to really take over and take charge of their ads, but they don't really know how. A lot of the free programs are amazing, but they're generalized. They are not someone looking at your ads in your sales dashboard to see what's working, what's not working. And that's the difference, is that even those who have kind of a basic grasp of ads, who maybe still aren't converting, they're still not having the success they want, or they don't know how to scale. That's when consulting can really make a difference, because we're not giving you generalized information. We're looking at your sales data and then working from there. And then the publishing consulting piece is usually a longer program. It can last anywhere from 3 months to a year, depending on your book, your book or books. I have some authors I work through a series with, some that it's a one-off book, and how much help you need depends on you. So I always offer a free 15-minute call to look at you and your book to see what you might need. Um, I'm a really big supporter of not selling people stuff they don't need. So yes, we do have some kind of standard programs, but one of the things that New Shelves is a standout with is that we tailor programs to your goals and what you need. I don't want to sell you something you don't need. You're not going to be happy. I'm not going to feel useful, and that's just not fun. So if you have a book, or whether you're publishing, or you want to increase your sales, you want to learn about ads, if you reach out, I'm happy to have a chat with you to see what might be a good fit. And certainly if it's something New Shelves can't do, or it's not our specialty, or your genre maybe isn't something we excel at, I always am so happy to recommend you to other places and programs. One of the things I don't do actually is that in many cases, I don't work on affiliate with other companies who do marketing or different programs. Now I do affiliates all the time with like software, like Publisher Rocket. I'm an affiliate for them and I recommend them. But for a lot of other programs like editors and things like that, I refuse to take an affiliate, because I want you all to know that if I'm recommending their services, it's not because I'm getting a kickback or I'm getting paid. It's because I truly think that they might be able to help you. I don't want to profit off of other people in that way. So that's one of the things that I will say, is that if I can't help you, I'm always so happy to recommend you to someone else in the industry that I've heard good things about, or I've seen personally their work and would recommend. Because I think that there's enough authors out there for all of us to work with. And I want to work with people that I know I can help and that will be happy with what we do together, because that is why I own my business. It's why I bought New Shelves, is so I can do what I love and love what I do. And you can't do that if you're not a good fit for someone, whether it be the genre or the communication style. So if you're interested, just reach out to me. You can email me directly at Keri@newshelves.com, and we can get a call scheduled. This coming week is a little hectic just because I just got back from Poland. But we'll certainly get you on the schedule. Um, and I so appreciate, I see in the comments that Chris Bennett is saying that he'd highly recommend New Shells. Chris and I have been working together for years, more years than I realized. I think since 2018. So it's been like 7 years. Chris and I have been working together through 11 books, and still getting more books out there. So we've worked together for a long time on self-publishing and building that platform in ads. And I've worked with Lynn as well, who had said she'd recommend New Shelves in my services. And Lynn does nonfiction. Lynn has actually been a guest on Free Advice Friday for nonfiction, in the world of trauma specifically, is what Lynn works in. And she's just a joy to work with. So, and Bob as well. Oh, you guys. This is where my lack of sleep is going to come in. I'm going to get all teary-eyed. And Bob is also saying that he's worked with us and have sent people our way. And Bob, of course, we know as the cartoon guy who has lots of fun books. So absolutely appreciate all of those endorsements and recommendations. As funny as it is that New Shelves is a consulting company and a marketing company, we don't market our services all that much, partially because most of our clients come in through conferences or word of mouth. And it's been such a joy and a blessing to really have people recommend New Shelves. Again, it helps us find the right client and the right people to work with. And I think that's important on both sides. So absolutely reach out if you would like to. I would love to talk to you and see if it'd be a good fit. And Elaine, thank you so much for asking. Poland was amazing. It's been a long time since I've traveled to a country where English was not the predominant language. And so that was kind of fun. It's the first time my kids have been in that situation as well, and they're 11 and 14. So that was really interesting when we were in the bigger cities like Warsaw and Krakow. Um, a lot of people spoke English. I am so impressed with the people of Poland and how many people spoke not just Polish and English, but multiple languages. So incredibly impressed because this is not an area that I have any talent in. It was just amazing. And so that was fun. But then we also ventured out into places that are not as traveled um, by people who are not from Poland or who don't speak Polish. And so that was a humbling experience to try to Google Translate, to take the two words that I know and say them very badly. And people overwhelmingly were way more patient than I probably would have been. So it was a beautiful time. We went to Warsaw. We were in Krakow, which is Krakow. I keep saying it differently because I've heard it differently. Beautiful, beautiful area, and that's where a lot of fun stuff. Anyone who is a fan of The Witcher, there is a pub called the Wolf Pit Tavern that is basically set up like The Witcher. You buy ducats, and then you actually can pay with ducats, and people are dressed up in full cosplay, and it was so much fun. I love The Witcher, and my husband does too. So that was a lot of fun, and we got to mix our own potions and drinks. We also went to a coffee shop that was styled very much. It did not say it was Harry Potter, but it was not Harry Potter. So there's a lot of Harry Potter kind of stuff in there. The kids thought that was fun. The drinks came out with like dry ice, and so they were smoking potions and all of that stuff. So that was a fun coffee shop, and they had like butter beer and all sorts of fun stuff. So that was a lot of fun to do. And then we went to Poznan where we have family and again, another beautiful city. So much history there. It was almost overwhelming how much history is there because you start kind of still impressed. I was still impressed by the 10th cathedral that was older than my imagination. I was still impressed, but you also kind of are like, oh yeah, it's just another, cathedral built in 900 BC. It's kind of amazing the history that's there that is still so commonly used. I mean, these churches and cathedrals, people are just commonly still going to mass there and different things. And this being, we were there Palm Sunday, different things. It was fun to see. So that was amazing. We went to a little town called Torun, which was probably my favorite, just a sweet little town, really old history. Actually, this one was kind of funny because we went into this big cathedral. We were on a golf cart tour. By the way, if you ever travel, golf cart tours, hop on, hop off buses are widely underrated, in my opinion. You can get such a view of everything quickly and get a quick peek of everything and then decide what you want to explore further. So I have to give a shout out to those because I thought they were kind of hokey at first. And then once I started doing them, I realized I was silly and should be doing them all the time. And we were on a golf cart tour and we were seeing this big church, and our guide stopped and said, if you want to go inside, you can see Satan on the ceiling. And we were like, Satan on the ceiling. Okay, so we went into this church, beautiful cathedral, gorgeous, and you look up, and on the ceiling is basically graffiti. It is a graffiti picture of what someone thought Satan looked like, I guess. To me, I have an axolotl, which is a little amphibian creature, and I thought it looked kind of like that. And we went back outside, and she's like, yeah, a lot of people stop and look at the graffiti on the ceiling. And we asked, but like, what's the story behind this? And apparently, the people who were building cathedral, the people who were, doing the painting and and bricklaying and everything like that. Did not like the priest at the time who was not paying them, either not paying them well or not paying them on time or not paying them. So the guy on the ceiling had a scaffolding and did his very, very old graffiti, took his scaffolding and left. And because it is so extremely high, and the priest apparently didn't want to pay people, it has sat there for years and years. So we saw old graffiti, which was hilarious, and we really enjoyed that. Um, and so it was just one of those fun things, and that was in Toruń. And then we went to Gdańsk, which is a port city, and that was a lot of fun too to see that old maritime history. We went to Malbork Castle, which is the largest brick castle. And it is very, very large and very, very old. A lot of things, of course, have been, adjusted over time. So, or recreated. So we did Malbork Castle. We drove to the Baltic Sea. So we went to the beach on vacation. I am in Virginia now with the Atlantic, and we went to the Baltic Ocean. So that was fun. We did do Auschwitz, which was a very sobering, humbling experience. Um, it is one of those things. I can't say it was fun, but it was very educational. It was something that I'm glad my kids got to see. Um, and to sit in that history was very sobering, but very um, it's something that I would recommend. I think we should see that kind of history, not just the fun history and the pretty history. I think we should see the dark history. I think that's important to see, give space and stories to that. So that was good. We did salt mines way far under. And then, of course, we were back in Warsaw for some museums, the Royal Palace and Castle. So it was a great trip. Thank you for asking. I know I was away for a long time for any of my clients. So thank you for your graciousness in that long vacation. And I will be getting back to emails. But thank you so much for all of that. And I will be here next week. So same time, same place. If you have questions, email them in throughout the week at info@newshelves.com, or of course you can bring those live and I'll answer those. But if you've emailed me in the last 2 weeks, I know you got my autoresponder. I will be working on that. We actually just got home very late last night. So I probably won't be doing too many emails today. I am kind of going through, I have hundreds. So just going through and kind of triaging if I can, and taking care of that. But everything else, I'll be jumping in with both feet on Monday. No, we're not on tour with the company. I planned it. We do have family who lives in Poland, so we met up with them in Poznan, and we were with them for a little while. So we did rent a car, and they did drive. But for the most part, I kind of said, I mean, this is what we do with our family. We say we're going to this place, or we decide on a place, we vote on it because it's our Christmas gift. We don't do a lot for Christmas. We do a vacation, and so we knew we were going to Poland, and we had the kids pull up places they wanted to see and do. And my husband and I did the same. And then we saw how much we could do. And so I kind of just mapped it out and planned it out. And we had our hard itinerary of things that were scheduled, like our Airbnbs and where we'd be each night. And then we had a lot of flexibility for, if it's a great day in Warsaw and it's sunny, we can do this. If it's rainy, we can do this museum. So we kind of had a list of things. But we did not go with a tour company. We went with the Keri Barnum tour, and it was a lot of fun. So it was great, and we did have great help from my sister-in-law who lives there, and absolutely they do speak some Polish and things. So their help when we did go a little more off-grid was invaluable, in making sure that we were having a great time. And it was a really great experience. So thank you all for asking and being so interested. Anyone who wants to see pictures, if you follow me over on Facebook, not New Shelves, but you follow me on Facebook, I have been posting pictures. So, all right, you guys, I guess that's enough about me. Thank you guys for being here. It's good to hear from all of you again. I'll be back next Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I will see you then. Bring your questions and we'll get started 10 a.m. Eastern next Friday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.